everyone, and welcome to a new video which is going to be a guide to authentic Italian breakfast. And Italy is not really renowned for its breakfast, but we don't only have cappuccino and brioche for breakfast. So without further ado, let's begin this video and I hope you'll enjoy. Of course, we're going to start with the most traditional Italian breakfast, cappuccino and brioche. Usually there are two places where Italians go to get a cappuccino and a brioche. First, at a bar, and don't confuse an Italian bar with the American definition of a bar. A bar is an integral part of Italian culture. It's a place where people often start their day with a quick breakfast, or where they enjoy a break during the day, socialize with the locals, and just relax in general. They specialize in coffee, pastries, quick meals, and of course, alcohol. And it's important to note that bars don't make their own brioches. They are usually either frozen or bought from another company. On the other hand, we have a pasticceria, which translates to pastry shop. Here they specialize in creating and selling a wide variety of pastries, cakes, and desserts. Pasticcerie are known for their artistry and craftsmanship in creating delicious and visually appealing treats. And of course, they make their own fresh brioches every morning. So naturally, I prefer having my cappuccino and brioche at a pasticceria, even though it's usually a little bit more expensive than a bar. But what are brioches and how are they made? It's currently 3:15 a.m. and my dad and I are going to one of his friends' pasticceria to see how brioches are made here in Italy. It smells so delicious. I think he's already baking them. I hope we're not late and we can see the whole process.
Don Francesco. Don Francisco, grazie per il Don Francisco.
Salve. This is Francesco. He's been a pastry maker since he was 12 and he is now almost 70. Despite his age, he's also a martial arts teacher on the side, and I find it a funny coincidence that he not only bakes sweets all day, but he's also one of the sweetest old men I've ever had the pleasure to encounter. When we got there, it was about 3:40 a.m. and Francesco was already baking all the brioches since his shift started 40 minutes earlier. This is the last step of the brioche making process. In fact, the brioches that you see had been resting and rising since 7 p.m. the previous day. Now they're nice and fluffy and ready to be baked at 180 Celsius degrees for around 20 minutes. So they'll be fresh and warm when the shop opens in about 3 hours. After baking, Francesco fills the brioches with a variety of flavors like jam, chocolate, pistachio, and pastry cream. And then he's adding all those final touches that make them look and taste fantastic. Done with all the brioches, he goes on to prepare small pastries, or how we call them in Italy, pasticcini. These can be eaten for breakfast, but are most commonly eaten as after-lunch treats. I was very grateful for this experience because I don't remember the last time I got up early enough to see the sunrise. At 7 a.m. the barista comes and she will put out all the brioches in the window where the customers will be able to choose their favorites. With the shop bustling and customers satisfied, Francesco turns his attention to tomorrow's batch. This brings us to the first step of brioche making, preparing the dough. The ingredients for the dough include flour, sugar, a bit of salt, egg yolks, yeast, butter, aromas, and not entirely frozen water. machine will mix everything for about 30 minutes. Then Francesco portions the dough and places it on this other machine. Here he folds the dough over and over so that the dough creates different layers, which will show when the brioche is baked. And then he starts to flatten it with the help of this machine. He then incorporates blocks of butter for each portion of dough, wrapping the dough all around it. Folds it again and keeps stretching it. He does this a few times before he's satisfied with the final result. As he preps each portion, he puts the ones he already made immediately in the shock freezer to stop the rising process. When the dough is nice and stretched, he wraps it around this roller and puts it on the table, where he will fold it in half and cut it depending on which brioche shape he's making. Here he's cutting triangles for cornettos, and here is how cornettos are made. Then he pulls out the other dough he prepped earlier and repeats the process. This time he's cutting stripes for making round brioches. When the whole tray is ready, the brioches are put back in the shock freezer until 7 p.m. At that time, the last employee to leave the shop after closing will take them out of the freezer so that they can start rising, and they will be ready to bake at 3 a.m. when Francesco will start his shift again. Here he cuts square for the brioche shape that we call ferro di cavallo, which is translated to horseshoe in English because it looks like it. And that's it for Francesco's artistry. But what is the difference between a brioche and a croissant? A brioche is basically a softer, sweeter, more buttery version of a croissant. It is usually never crunchy, like a croissant would be. The most popular fillings for brioches in Italy are apricot jam, pastry cream, chocolate, or just plain. For most adults at breakfast, coffee is a must in Italy, and here are the coffees we order the most for breakfast. First, we have a caffè, which is our go-to coffee, so if you just order a coffee in Italy, this is what you'll get. Next, we have caffè macchiato, which means stained coffee because it's a shot of espresso stained with a little bit of milk and milk foam. Next, of course, the most popular choice for breakfast is a cappuccino. Next, we have a macchiatone, and if a caffè macchiato and a cappuccino could have a child, this would be it, because it has a little bit more milk than a caffè macchiato but a little less milk than a cappuccino. And last we have latte macchiato, which is a large cup of warm milk to which is added a shot of espresso. If you have kids or you just want a caffeine-free choice, an interesting variation that most breakfast places offer is a ginseng coffee or a barley coffee that can be used to make cappuccinos as well. As a kid, I would have a barley cappuccino every morning, and to this day it's one of my favorites. Other popular breakfast drinks are a spremuta, which is freshly squeezed orange juice. Fruit juice is another very beloved Italian breakfast drink, and the most popular ones are pear, peach, apricot, and ace, which is made with orange, lemon, and carrots, and it tastes like heaven. I highly recommend you try it. However, for most Italian families, going out for breakfast every day is not sustainable, and it's usually a treat for the weekend. So what do most Italians have for breakfast at home? When it comes to coffee at home, most Italians use a mocha, which is this dandy little coffee maker, which produces a coffee stronger than drip coffee, but not quite as strong as an espresso. Warm milk and cookies are another go-to for many Italians. Some of the most popular cookies we eat include cookies by the brand Mulino Bianco, Pan di Stelle, and Gocciole. In the absence of freshly baked brioches, we usually substitute them with grocery store bought brioches, and the most popular ones are by Kinder, which is an Italian brand, and Italians love anything Kinder, including their delicious brioches, and we have so many variants of them. So let me run you through the most popular ones. Fiesta is made with an outer layer of chocolate and an inside of sponge cake soaked in orange liquor. Next we have Kinder Brioche, which is just made with sponge cake and milk filling on the inside. And there's only one acceptable way to open these brioches, which is this. Yeah, if you're Italian, you will know. Next is Kinder Delice with an outer layer of chocolate and an inside of chocolate sponge cake and milk filling. Kinder Pinguì is my current favorite, and it's a chocolate bar with fresh milk cream filling. Kinder Fetta al Latte is another one of my go-to for breakfast, made with a chocolate sponge cake on the outside and fresh milk cream on the inside. Kinder Paradiso is made with vanilla, sponge cake, and lemon milk cream filling. And then there are so many other brands and types, but the ones I just listed are the best ones in my opinion. Another popular choice for breakfast is fette biscottate, which translates to toasted slices in English, and it's basically twice baked, dry and crispy bread. If you eat them on their own, they don't really taste like anything, even though I still love them on their own. But if you pair them with butter, jam, honey, or other spreads, the magic happens. Usually I would pair these with tea, and my favorite thing to do is to soak them in the tea so that they get soft and then eat them. Another popular and delicious breakfast tradition here in Italy is bread and Nutella, and for some reason bread and Nutella are advertised as a healthy almost and energizing way to start your morning by the Italian media. And here's some examples of advertisements that we get.
Mi chiamo Claudio Silvestri e sono il cuoco della nazionale di calcio. Una gran bella responsabilità. E io devo scegliere per loro l'alimentazione più completa, giusta ed equilibrata. Al mattino non ho dubbi. Frutta, latte, pane e Nutella. E poi vedi come corrono a fare colazione.
Nei momenti più duri e impegnativi, quando è indispensabile la massima concentrazione, bisogna essere in piena forma. Per questo, fin dal mattino, è importante alimentarsi bene. Nutella è con te, con tutta l'energia del latte e delle nocciole, con tutta la sua bontà. Pane e Nutella, energia per fare e per pensare.
And I don't know about that, but it definitely makes my morning happier. And of course, many people here enjoy milk and cereal as well. So this is it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something new, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!